Well, my name is Kristin Bays. I am very honored to be a candidate on your ballot for judge of the 410th District Court. And I'll tell you a little backstage story about running for office. The thing that I hear most often is, why did you decide to run for judge of the 410th? Surely some of you have had that question, so let me just tell you. The 410th District Court is really at a crossroads, and I think that I can put us on the right path. The 410th is a multi-jurisdiction court. What does that mean? It means that it's a court created by the Texas Constitution and by a Texas statute to handle every type of case that Montgomery County citizens need handled. It is a trial court. It is a court of we the people. It handles each type of case, whether it's civil, family, or criminal. This is our court, and it needs to work for us as our court. So we need a judge who has experience with all those different types of cases, someone who knows the law and follows the law, and someone who, like me, has 22 years experience as an attorney and knows that nobody wants to be in court. And so anyone that comes before the judge is treated with respect and get them out of there just as quickly as possible. And that's what I bring to the table. And that's important in this race for this court. The reason is because the first candidate who announced in this race told the Conroe Courier that she wanted to specialize the court, to hear family and civil cases but not criminal cases. And that caused me some alarm, and really it should you as well. The reason is because in the last 8 years, 5 of our 7 district courts have moved towards specialization, and in that same time period, every judicial candidate and every judicial race will tell you that we have a backlog of cases, an overcrowded jail, and taxpayer waste. The experiment in specialization, it just hasn't worked. If specialization is permitted by law, and if it works, then great. County Court of Law number 2 in Montgomery County is a prime example of that because it became our probate court by law in December of 2010, and it works great. The same isn't true for our district courts. By way of example, we have 700 people sitting in the Montgomery County Jail just waiting for their cases to go to trial. That costs us $50 per person per day. If you don't have your cell phone out, it's $35,000 a day that we spend on people to wait. That's far too expensive. That's far too much waiting. We need a solution to that problem, and the solution is not to send the criminal cases that are in the 410th down the hall, or to eliminate that court as one that can actually handle those cases. The solution is to have a judge, hire a judge who can try those cases and who will. A judge who says, I can and I will, and that's what I'm telling you. Justice Scalia said that campaign promises are probably the least binding form of human agreements known to man, and that's probably true. But as I sit here on videotape, I'm telling you, I can and I will.
Good evening. Can you hear me? I'm going to have to kind of lean up. I'm sorry, I'm so short. I can't really get to the microphone very well. All right, good evening. I'm Jennifer James Robin. I am currently an associate judge of the district court, and I am asking for your vote for judge of the 410th District Court. Special thanks to all the people of Eagle Forum for allowing me to come and speak with you tonight. I was in private practice for 10 years prior to my appointment as the associate judge of the 418th District Court in 2011. I am one of only 16 attorneys in all of Montgomery County that is board certified in family law. Almost 1/2 of all the cases that are heard in the 410th or that are currently pending in the 410th right now are family law matters. Only 10% of all the attorneys in the state of Texas have a board certification, and I am part of that elite group. I am the only candidate in this race with a proven judicial track record. I have been presiding over jury and bench trials and have never been reversed on appeal. Now, I decided to run for the 410th District Court because this court is not operating at full capacity. It has policies and procedures that are contributing to inefficiencies, low productivity, and extra cost to taxpayers. Now, my opponents don't want to change anything about this court, and they don't give you any solutions. They want to continue the same failed practices and policies that led to backlog in the 410th and somehow yield a different result. I am here to work and to apply the knowledge and skills that I have acquired as an associate judge of one of the most efficient courts in all of Montgomery County and put this court back to work again. Now, my opponents are going to try to distract you with unsupported numbers and interesting sound bites and try to make this race about court specialization. This race is about qualifications, and all of this is a straw man to get you off the fact that all of the qualifications of my opponents do not add up to my qualifications. In fact, one of my opponents in 2010, when she ran for a specialized court in 2010, said the following: "That docket works because it is specialized. You slow things down when you use breadth, not depth." That was the Conner Courier on August 25th, 2009. Both of my opponents want to lead you away from the real issues in this race, and that is, who do you trust to be the next judge of the 410? Proven judicial track record or political rhetoric? I am the only candidate with a verifiable 5-year track record of working hard, following the law, having an even temperament, and running an efficient docket. All the rhetoric that you're hearing is a straw man to distract you from my qualifications to which they cannot compare. My name is Jennifer James Robin, and I'm asking for your vote.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I'd like to thank the Montgomery County Eagle Forum for hosting this tonight, and I'd like to thank each of you for showing up here tonight. Judicial races are usually not, we pay little attention to them. It's very important that we pay attention to every person on the ballot, whether they're running for U.S. Congress, U.S. Senate, the United States President, or this court here, the 410th District Court. My name is Chuck Meyer, and I'm here tonight to solicit your support and your vote for that court. I'll try to make the case, and I will make the case, that I am the candidate for this position. I want to focus my presentation on the 3 R's, and that's not reading, writing, and arithmetic, but rather responsibilities, role models, and respect, to provide you with evidence of why I am the best candidate for this race. I've been a lawyer for 27 years, longer than my opponents. More than a quarter century. In that time, I've been given a variety of positions of responsibility, positions of immense trust. My first full-time job out of law school was as a judicial law clerk with a federal judge who had been appointed by Ronald Reagan. A judicial law clerk functions as a judge's briefing attorney, writing drafts of the opinions that the judge edits and adopts as his own, and also reviewing the sentencing recommendations to ensure they comply with the law. For someone out of law school, being a federal judicial law clerk is quite the honor, as there are very few positions in the country open every year. Ted Cruz was a judicial law clerk at the Court of Appeals as well as the United States Supreme Court. I was a judicial law clerk at the trial level of this district court. I remember one case when I was a judicial law clerk where the judge wanted to make sure that he could max on the sentence on a drug kingpin by the name of Sonny Guerrero. Guerrero was a crystal meth distributor who operated in the Hawaiian Islands. I was assigned the task by the judge to find a way of ensuring he got enough years so that he would likely die in prison. And I did, and the judge put him away. That Reagan-appointed judge is my role model when it comes to sentencing of drug dealers. That is how I'll deal with sentencing of drug kingpins if I become the judge in this court. And if it means that I earn the nickname of Maximum Meyer, well then so be it. Now I want to talk a little bit about the wisest judge that ever existed in history, except perhaps our Savior Jesus Christ, and that is Solomon. At Kings 1, 29 to 34, it tells us the story about Solomon and how the judge gave him wisdom. And let me quote from that. Now judge gave Solomon wisdom and great discernment and breadth of understanding of mind like that of the seashore. I've been a chief legal officer of a publicly traded company. My breadth of experience cannot be touched by my opponents, even combined. I've worked in employment law, patent law, commercial law, the administrative law, data protection law, all sorts of areas, bankruptcy law. And this breadth of experience is the type of wisdom that you need in a judge. You need a judge that can accept anything that comes before his or her way. I see that my time is up. I'd like to remind you that I am to go out to electchuckmeyer.com and you'll see I'm an assistant district attorney for Hardin County, and more about that later. Thank you.
I'm wondering what area of law you think is going to have the most significant influx of cases over the next foreseeable future. And I guess y'all pick who starts.
Yeah, Judge Robin, if you will start, and then we'll just circulate around the same direction.
Yes, sir. Well, right now, the 410th, 41% of all the cases pending in the 410th right now, that's about 880 cases, are family law matters. We obviously, most of y'all are familiar with the Obergefell decision, which legalized gay marriage. We've seen an influx already. We have a whole new set of litigants that we didn't have before. And so we're already seeing those influx of cases. Those numbers are going to continue to grow. In addition, in this last legislative session, there were over 1,000 changes to the family code. And one of those changes was a change to a mandatory order of dental insurance on family law cases. Right now, we're ordered to make sure everyone's covered by health insurance, but not dental insurance. Those cases are going to kick into effect in 2018. Guess how many modifications that's going to cause? So we're going to have a lot of the thing about family law cases is that they don't just go away once they're done at the beginning. After their first round, they come back many times when there's children involved. They can come back even when there's not children involved on enforcement issues. So family law is going to continue to be a demand in this county.
Mr. Meyer?
I think it's fair to say that each category will probably go up significantly. But perhaps what's more important as to how much they each will increase is what are the cases that are the most important that the judges have to dispose of. You've already heard one of my opponents talk about the burden upon the jail when we don't have as speedy trials as perhaps we should. One of my role models is the district attorney for Hardin County, who always impresses upon me and the voters of that county that it isn't just the criminal defendant that needs a speedy trial, but it's the victims as well as the citizens, the voters of the county. So you have to pay attention not only to how the cases are going to increase, but also you have to pay attention to how significant those cases are to get resolved. The second category where we're going to see growth is in the civil area. Exxon has been moving a lot of people in here, and already I've been hearing from some civil litigators that companies prefer to take their cases down to Harris County rather than try them in Montgomery County, because we only have one judge who is full-time on civil cases. Judge Mays had a third of his docket, more or less, with civil cases, but only Judge Wood hears civil cases all the time. We have a slew of judges who hear nothing but criminal cases, and we have 4 judicial officers, my opponent is one of them, who can hear family law matters. We need to have someone on the court who can hear civil matters and be really excited about the fact that maybe Exxon is going to come into the courtroom. As I said, I was the chief legal officer of a publicly traded company. The company was BlackBerry, and I've been in negotiations with major corporations throughout the world in order to conclude legal agreements on behalf of that company. I'm not going to be intimidated if an Exxon or an Anadarko or CB&I or you name whatever big company it is. I'm also going to be making sure that our small plaintiffs get their day in civil court as well.
Thank you. Ms. Bays?
Ms. Driscoll, your question is a good one, and sadly, there's no real good answer. The only thing that we know for sure is that our county has increased in size so dramatically. We're at about 500,000 people and still growing and booming. And realistically, what that means is that the family cases will go up, the civil cases will go up, and the criminal cases will go up. And that's why we need to use every available resource at the courthouse to handle it. Allowing civil cases to just be ignored and slid under the rug means businesses decide not to come to Montgomery County. How the courthouse operates is important to businesses deciding where to locate, because part of doing business is dealing with litigation, and they need to see that their cases aren't going to linger for the 3 and 4 years that they do now. Rumor has it that there's a reason that Exxon is just on the other side of the county line. Criminal cases. We talked about jail overcrowding. That's a problem that can go away, but it's going to take working together with all of the courts at full capacity. Our commissioners are actually considering building a new jail to handle the overcrowding at our jail at a price tag of $200 million, which probably means $300 million by the time that we're done. And that's not going to solve the problem of all the people waiting over there. It's just going to create a bigger waiting room. And we really can't have that. All of our courts need to work at maximum capacity because every type of case in Montgomery County is going to go up and up and up over the next few years as our population does as well. We need this court, the 410th, to work full-time on every type of case that Montgomery County citizens need heard. If for some reason the majority of cases in the 410th goes from, as it is currently, the criminal cases to suddenly becoming the civil cases, this court needs to be there to adapt, and we need a judge who can handle it as well. I can handle the increase in population, the increase in cases, and that's what you need this court to do for you.
John, you're next. And then after that would be, is it Buddy McCann? Paul McCann? Let me, not here?
No, he's here.
Oh, okay,
Brad.
okay.
Yeah.
So you'll be next after John. John, 1 minute, please.
Yeah, my first question was going to deal with the code of judicial conduct against campaigning against fellow opponents, but I see y'all address that in the opening speeches there. So I'm glad you did that. So I'll jump to my next question. That is, what can you do in your court to protect citizens from harm by illegal aliens?
I'm sorry, did you say by illegal aliens?
Yeah, and we'll start with Mr. Meyer. Chuck?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just was making a quick note.
Okay.
I try not to speak before I know what I'm going to say. And I think judicial candidates should always abide by that rule. That's a very tough and interesting question. If you have to apply the sentences that are appropriate to whoever comes before your court, but you know, if someone is in this country illegally, at the sentencing phase, you better make darn sure that you are maximizing the opportunity to get that alien out of the country after they've served their term. And really, I don't have any other suggestions. I'd like to hear from you or anyone in the audience if you have any suggestions of what a judge can do when it comes to respect to illegal aliens. Of course, when it comes to the granting of bail of someone who is an illegal alien and is awaiting indictment or awaiting trial, you're not going to be inclined to give them bail. I mean, if they're in the country illegally, what do you think the chances are that they're going to remain in the country in order to stand trial? So that is perhaps something that you can do. Always be cognizant of the fact that the bail amount needs to be set so high that they cannot make it if that's what the law calls for, or to deny them bail as a result of their status as an illegal alien.
Bays?
The question's really kind of an interesting one because there's really two competing issues going on. A judge actually has an obligation to call ICE if there is an illegal alien in the courtroom. There's actually procedures, thank you. There's procedures that our legislature has set up related to certain pleadings that would be filed in court that would be a tip-off even in civil cases about whether someone's an illegal alien. And again, the judge's obligation is clear, contact ICE. Deportation proceedings would begin. But the flip side is that a lot of times what is happening from a policy perspective is a lot of victims of crimes of illegal aliens feel like they didn't get their day in court, because they don't. Because the illegal aliens are deported before their trials take place. So, ICE gets contacted immediately. They go and put a lock and a hold on the illegal alien while they're in jail, and sorry, I guess that's going to have to increase overcrowding, but sometimes it's worth it. The trial happens on an expedited basis. Basically, move them to the head of the line. We don't want them sitting in the jail while we pay for it, and then they have their trial. And regardless of the outcome of their trial, off they go at the end, back to the country of their origin. We don't keep illegal aliens in our country. And judges have an obligation to make sure that they go back and they're deported appropriately, while at the same time administering justice for the victims of crimes along the way.
Look, I would would like to tell you what you want to hear, but the truth is, to say that judges can pick out litigants and call ICE is not only flying in the face of ethics, but also U.S. Supreme Court decisions and Texas Supreme Court decisions. The 14th Amendment of the Constitution provides for equal rights to all persons. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law. And there is case law that talks about no person meaning illegal alien. I wish I could tell you that I could do something more about that, but that is the law. And to do anything else would be violating it. Now what we need to do is we need to secure our borders. We need to take care of those things in the right place. Some of the things we can do, law enforcement can report to ICE. In fact, law enforcement does report to ICE. And they often are held and deported. Before they ever actually get in front of me, that's already happened. So that's where deportation takes place, not by the judge. We would be violating ethics and constitutional law if we did otherwise. One last thing is that one place where you can as a judge, do something about it is the special immigration status for juveniles. And I don't know if anybody will know any of that stuff, but there is a situation where they can come and try to get special immigration status when they prove certain things to a family court. And so as a family law judge, I am very strict about those things because our borders are important to me, and I make them give me real proof, and those are the ways that I can help and keep and protect our Texas and our citizens as far as illegal aliens, and still tend to the oath that I took as a judge.
And the next question after this will be Jamie, is it Bowes or Bowe? Bowe? Okay.
Okay, my question is, how can the voters in Montgomery County trust the type of judge who will be once behind the bench?
And I believe it's back to Kristin to start.
And that's such a good question. That's pretty much what Scalia was talking about campaign promises being the least binding form of agreements between parties. The reality is, you're taking a step in the right direction by being here this evening. There are forums that are happening. We've had 2 this week. They're going to be happening all the way through Election Day. And it's better to go to these forums and to see the candidates, to meet them, to talk to them, and to see what they're about. You'll know. You'll know if there's someone who has the mindset that they're professing out on the campaign trail. You'll know if this is someone that you feel that you can trust. You'll know what this person brings to the table in terms of experience and prior activity that would show that they're actually going to do what they say they're going to do. The key to being a good judge is saying, I will, handling cases, dockets, morning and afternoon, multiple trials in a single week, all that hard work. I've got an awful lot of clients who will go to the candidate forums, and I encourage you all to go and to talk to them about how much work I do, how hardworking I am, what I can accomplish, and how efficient I can be. That's how you get confirmation. And the great thing is that if you guess wrong, and you vote for someone and you vote someone in office who does not fulfill the expectations that they led you to have, in 4 years, you get another chance. That's the beauty of electing judges in Texas. It makes you a part of the process. And it's wonderful that you've taken this step to be here this evening to become that and to become educated and get to know the candidates for this bench.
I'd also like to thank you.
I believe it's Robin's turn.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were pointing to me.
No, my fault.
Okay, well, the good thing about me is you don't have to guess. I've been an associate judge for the last 5 years of the 410th District Court. It is one of the most efficient courts in Montgomery County. Its case disposal rate and for 2014 was 113%. That means we dispose of more cases than we take in. We are working hard, and what's hard about family law cases is they take a long time. That case may come to us as first a protective order, a temporary order, a TRO. We may see them multiple times on a modification of the temporary orders before we ever see them for a trial, and then they come back later again on modifications. These cases take long hours, and yet we are still one of the highest and most productive courts in Montgomery County. So as far as what kind of judge I will be, ask the lawyers. Because if you go and look, our campaign finance reports are going to be due tomorrow. And you're going to see a long list of lawyers who are supporting me because they like me, because I treat people with kindness and dignity, because I'm fair and impartial, because I know the law, because I work hard and I give them hearings when they need them. You know what kind of judge I'm going to be because I have been the same kind of judge for 5 years. You may not have heard of me. That's a good thing. You don't want your judge in the news. I've been flying under the radar, working hard, and that's what I've been doing. And so you know what you're going to get with me. Ask around because the lawyers in this county like practicing in front of me. They're supporting me because they want me to be the next judge of the 410th. Thank you.
As I started to say a moment ago, I'd like to thank you as well for that question because it was one of the items I was going to cover in my closing, and now I have space to do something else. I wanted to talk about respect in my introduction and in my closing, and I have a great respect for the Constitution. Now, what evidence can I muster to give you the comfort that I'm the constitutional conservative in this race? I'm a member of the Fellow Society. I don't know if any of you know about the Fellow Society, but Ted Cruz has been quoted as saying that the Federalist Society is his home. The Federalist Society is a group of conservatives dedicated to promoting strong conservative reading of the Constitution. In an early trip when he was the senator-elect to a speech of the Federalist Society, he returned there several times because the society is in concert with his conservative legal ideas. I guarantee you I would not pay dues to an organization and go to their meetings if I did not believe in their cause. It is the place where those that want to become judges, either in the federal system or in the state system, learn what it is to be a constitutional conservative. And I'm not just talking about the U.S. Constitution. I'm talking about the Texas Constitution as well. And also respect for the rules of ethics, and for the statutes, and for the common law. Additionally, under respect, I have immense respect for life. I suspect my opponents do as well. I am if you go out to my website, you'll see from prior campaigns where I marched on an abortion clinic, and I also carried long guns in support of open carry. There's physical evidence of how I view the Constitution and how I view respect for life, respect for the Constitution, and respect for family matters. I've been married for 33 years, I have 3 children, and in my closing I'll tell you a little bit more about that. That's the type of judge that you want on the bench, someone who has respect for the institution, has respect for the law, respect for the Constitution, respect for life, and respect for family.
Jamie? And after her question is done, Jim Driscoll will have a chance to ask his question.
Good evening, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you this evening. Tell me a little bit about your record, specifically in Montgomery County, and what that means to the voters here in Montgomery County.
And we'll start with Ms. Robin.
You said our records, is that what you said?
Your record professionally.
Okay. So, professionally, I have been a lawyer for 15 years. The last 5 years, I've been an associate judge of a district court. As far as my record, I've never been overturned on any of the cases. I haven't been appealed that many times, but the times that I have been appealed, I have never been reversed on appeal. That means I'm making sound judgment. I'm following the law. That's the kind of judge that you want. As far as other track records, I am the only board certified candidate up here. In 2007, I may be slightly younger than both of my opponents, but in that time, in less time, I have tried more cases than either of them in Montgomery County, and that's a quick search in the district clerk's office. And I've done so in less time because I couldn't practice law during the 5 years that I was on the bench. Also, I got board certified in 2007 and have maintained that certification since 2007. That's a big accomplishment. I care about this profession. I care about being the best in this profession, and it shows in my judgments, my rulings, and my track record. Thank you.
I maintain a virtual law practice, and what I mean by that is I'm not a virtual lawyer or virtually a lawyer, but rather I do not have a brick and mortar office. I'm a business lawyer with a technology bent. I've represented clients throughout the United States, and I've even represented clients that have offices abroad. I represented a client, a Montgomery County resident who in a court case in Harris County, and it shouldn't have been brought in Harris County, but the plaintiff, for whatever reason, decided that Harris County was a better place to try a trade secret case. I was part of the team in the court trying to defend a company out of Boston and its employee on a trade secret claim. But most of my work is not in the courtroom, quite frankly. I'm a small business entrepreneurial lawyer. The BlackBerry was a company that was Canadian, for goodness sakes, but they had many offices in the U.S. I was their sole U.S. employee, and I dealt with issues. All of our contracts recited Texas law, and so I practiced Texas law for many years as their chief legal officer and counsel. I'd just like to point out that you're electing a state judge. We're not Montgomery County judges. That is our judicial district. It's state law that we apply. And a better question, with all due respect, is what are your experiences in Texas? I worked for Compact Computer Corporation for a number of years. I was asked to write a brief on trade secret law that went to the Texas Supreme Court. I'm very familiar with many aspects of Texas law. I represent a family on a pro bono basis in Jasper County in order to keep them from having their house foreclosed. I kept them in their house for over a year. They eventually had to short sell it, but that was just the best solution to that problem. So I have a wide variety of experiences under Texas law.
I grew up in Lubbock and fled as quickly as humanly possible. Yeah, y'all have been there, haven't you? I went to Baylor University and then on to the Baylor School of Law, and it was at the Baylor School of Law that I really found my calling that ultimately led me to Montgomery County, because I discovered that I was really good at the law and that I really loved it. I did very well in law school, graduated 5th in my class from law school, and I came to Houston first. Y'all can have the same reaction you had to Lubbock on that one. And then I came back to Montgomery County. I've been here for 20 plus years. This is where I met and married my husband of 19 years, where we've had and raised our children. This is home to me. And in the context of being home here in Montgomery County, my husband and I even have our own law firm. We started at a private law firm, and that's actually where we met. It's very romantic. And then we started our own law firm. In the course of 22 years, I have spent the vast majority of them working with my husband, and that has given me the flexibility to take care of my kids. So if I need to pick them up from school, take them to the doctor, I have the ability to do that. What have we done in our civil litigation practice? A little bit of everything. We've handled a couple of criminal cases. We've handled some civil cases that have serious criminal overtones, including a landmark Supreme Court opinion from the Texas Supreme Court related to forgery, criminal forgery by a local car dealership. We've handled a ton of civil cases. And I have to take issue. I think I win the prize for the most jury trials, the most bench trials of anybody who's sitting up here before you, because that's what I do day in, day out, is present in court. I handle appeals. We've handled family cases. I've got 2 of them pending right now. We've done a little bit of everything, which is what gives me the breadth of experience for this court, because that was the second part of your question, is what does it mean for this court? It means that I'm well suited to fit into a multi-jurisdictional court, work hard, and handle the problems that Montgomery County has to help fix them.
Jim Driscoll,
I'm going to yield my question.
okay. We got some new tickets in, so I'll make sure they're all nice and mixed up. Larry Rogers. Okay. Office Max, I don't think they're going to get a chance. Scott Wonderly. And after Scott's question, somebody else did fill in a name. Guy Stratney. Is there a guy here close to that name? Okay. Let me just get the next person in line here. Mary Brown? Okay. Go ahead. You have 1 minute.
Hello, thank for all of y'all for being up here because I am a Montgomery County attorney.
If you could hold that mic up just a little bit so everybody can hear your question.
Okay. I am a Montgomery County attorney, so I'm likely to be in front of one of y'all before too long. So what type of experience do you have to be able to sit in a role of power and judgment and rule on evidence and basically render decisions that affect me as an attorney, my clients, and the citizens of Montgomery County? Thanks.
I believe, Judge Robin, you're next to start this panel.
Okay, so the question was what type of experience to sit in a position of power or authority? What was the second part?
And make judgments and rulings on evidence that affect my clients.
Okay, so, I mean, my experience has been the last 5 years. Each and every day I'm presiding over whether it be a temporary order hearing, which is like a mini trial, or whether it be a final trial, or a protective order hearing, which is a final trial. All these things, these are set every single day in the 418. And I preside over these things every single day. And so I have a lot of experience dealing with the rules of evidence, the rules of civil procedure, dealing with attorneys in the courtroom. And let me tell you, it's not just about rules of law, it's also about, you get people with some bad attitudes, you get all kinds of interesting things when you are a judge. And I have been sitting in that position, I've been handling those issues, and sitting in the position of authority and doing it while maintaining dignity and respect to the people in my courtroom and to the attorneys that come in my courtroom. As far as ruling on evidence and the experience and all of that, you know, one thing about the type of law that I'm in right now, as far as the court is concerned, you know, we hear all types of law. Family law has many crossover topics. We go into contract law, we go into torts, we even go into criminal law to the extent of quasi-criminal on enforcement. I sentence people to jail. So I have a lot of experience in general civil litigation, first as a private practitioner, but also in my time as a board certified family lawyer and now as an associate judge in a family law court. So on top of all of the civil experience that I have, I also have it in the quasi-criminal realm, and that and also we deal with criminal issues every day. We have criminals that come in and are getting divorced, they're being benched over from jail and all kinds of stuff. So we have all kinds of issues that cross over and that we have to deal with. And I've been sitting in that position and handling those issues on a daily basis for the last 5 years.
I'm really impressed with that question, and I'm impressed with all the questions. You folks are really giving a lot of thought to these things. Let me just run through a smattering of things. I was a patent examiner at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. In order to make rulings as to whether someone was able to become an inventor on a U.S. patent, I had to apply the evidence before me. I had to make decisions. It was one of the most important jobs that I could go into as an engineer with a law degree. And I learned the importance of making quick decisions. And if I got it wrong, you know, there was someone down the road that would tell me I got it wrong. I'm not afraid of the Court of Appeals. I've written briefs before the Court of Appeals. And decision making has come naturally to me. I was the head of BlackBerry Europe on the business side. I had to make multi-million-dollar decisions in contract negotiations. And I had to muster whatever evidence I could in order to make the case that the person sitting on the other side of the table would be able to agree with me on the conditions of the contracts. I began my career as an engineer at the Pentagon, and I had to be involved in a very intense decision making as a designer of computer systems to let the nation know when we're under nuclear attack. I had positions of great responsibility from the time I was an engineer through the time I was a lawyer. When you're the chief legal officer of a company that's a NASDAQ 100 company, you have to make decisions and hope that you're making the right ones on a moment's notice. Because in the high-tech industry, it's grind, 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 and you do the best that you can. I'm reminded of what the Chief Legal Officer, the General Counsel of Compact, where I also work, said to us once, and that is, you are business people who are trained to make decisions to benefit your client. Make them quickly, make them wisely, and don't worry about the consequences, just get the job done.
Being a lawyer is actually a position of power. And I say that because people come to you in their darkest hour. No one ever goes to see their attorney when they win the lottery or the Powerball, but they do come to see you when something bad has happened or something bad is happening, and they need your advice and your counsel. They need to know if the news is, there is nothing I can do for you, which is a hard message to deliver. They need to know, how long will it take and what outcome can I expect? They actually put a very important part of their lives into your hands, and I've been doing that for 22 years. Thousands of clients, making judgment calls and sometimes delivering bad news, sometimes taking something on full force. Sometimes it gets bigger than I ever expected that it would in the beginning, and we carry it through to the end. Sometimes these cases go up on appeal, where I handle the appeals, and I win those appeals. Sometimes they go up to the Texas Supreme Court. And there was one such case that I had in the Texas Supreme Court where I had the opportunity to meet our retired Supreme Court Justice Scott Brister, a devout Republican. And he said that my intelligence, demeanor, and grace under pressure make me an ideal candidate for judge. It's just a trait. Somebody who can command a room. Somebody who can expect respect while still exuding warmth. The position of power that I have held for more than 2 decades is a position of power that you expect from a judge. Someone who can grit their teeth and deliver the bad news with sensitivity, but deliver it nonetheless. That's what I am, that is my entire being, is doing just that. What judges do is what I do daily and what I'm really good at doing. I bring that to the table. Thank you.
Okay, let's,
It's on.
it's on, okay. Let's fast forward, it's 2017, you have been elected and sworn in, and now we have cases being tried. We all have different religious backgrounds, and we have, as Americans, we have that freedom, and I appreciate that. Now, instead of good old American law, somebody comes before you and says, I want to be tried by Sharia law. What happens?
I believe, Chuck, you could start with this one.
I don't know if I can take 30 seconds or more on this one. Sharia law does not belong in Texas courts. We're a Texas court. We're guided by the Texas Constitution, the United States Constitution, the statutes of the common law. In the rarest of circumstances, could I even imagine how this would come before the court? And my response would be the same. We're a Texas court, the Texas Constitution, the Texas statutes apply.
I would love to talk to you for 2 minutes about this, but I think we just need to be succinct and to the point. The answer would be no.
I would just tell, sir, madam, please have a seat. Your trial is about to begin and Texas law is about to apply.
Okay, our next question will come from Diana Gabolis. And then after that, Betty Anderson.
Do you want the microphone back?
How different do you think doing family law and doing criminal law is?
I believe we start with Judge Robin this time.
How different?
No,
That was
Judge
that the
Bays.
question?
Yes.
Or
Well, they're completely different. And that's one of the things that is so So I can't address every single misrepresentation that has been made during this campaign about specialization. So I've prepared a sheet of paper that's been distributed. If you didn't get one, come and see me after this forum, and I'll be glad to give it to you, about fictions and facts about court specialization and other things that have happened in this race. But it would take me way more than 2 minutes to explain that. As far as, but one of the things is that court specialization creates a situation where judges are more knowledgeable. The 410th District Court only receives 11%, a tiny little smidgen, of all the cases, newly filed cases in Montgomery County. Right now, the 435th District Court was stripped of the SVP cases. And so it is just slowly but surely filling up with criminal law, with criminal cases, because the Board of Judges determined it would be a felony-only court. It only has about 300 cases pending right now. It is primed and ready for more criminal matters. The problem with having a court that hears everything is you get someone who is who knows a little bit about everything, but not a lot about anything. So they're completely different, except for the crossover topics that I told you about. You know, I deal with criminal issues on a pretty much daily basis, and I've sentenced people to jail on enforcements and contempts. So there are crossovers, but they are different. They're different codes, and they are different specialties, and they should be treated by specialists in those fields. Do you want a heart surgeon to perform your surgery on your heart, or do you want your family practitioner doctor to do it? You want your specialist, and so that's the difference. They're absolutely different, and that's why court specialization works and moves cases faster and is more efficient.
I wasn't sure you were asking about specialization in the question. I'll try to address that, but at the very highest level, court cases don't differ much. The underlying law, you read the statute, you apply the cases, and the rules of evidence apply, and there's very little difference between the rules of evidence in a family law case and in a criminal case and in a civil law case. So from the 50,000-foot level, they aren't different. They're just very different types of cases. In terms of specialization, I'd encourage you to look into the experience of Harris County. Harris County has dedicated courts, criminal law courts, civil law courts, family law courts. A friend of mine is a district court judge in family law, and I was talking to him about specialization. Yes, you can get greater efficiencies, but what you lose is flexibility. So if you get a slew of criminal cases in Harris County, guess who gets to try those cases? It's only the criminal judges. It's really difficult to try to transfer it to a different area, whether it's civil or family law. And so when you lose flexibility, and if you have a chance, if you know some of the judges on the court, talk to some of the judges. They are not uniform in their belief that we should have specialized courts. There are several judges that believe that we should. But in any event, the whole topic of specialization really misses the point. You want the judges that come on the bench to be able to handle anything that comes their way. We now have a desperate need for judges who can handle criminal matters, and a desperate need for judges that can handle civil matters. I don't see a desperate need for handling family law matters because we have 4 judicial officers who are capable of doing that. And it's a question of, do you want the flexibility of being able to slot judges in to take care of the needs of the county, or do you want to create yet another family law bench?
The difference between family cases and criminal cases really comes down to which code are the statutes published in. We have a family code, we have a penal code. That's where you find the rules related to each of those types of cases. But you have to know how to look, how to dig into the case law that interprets the statute, how to look at legislative history if that is appropriate, how to apply the rules of the Code Construction Act to determine if there is some ambiguity in the statute. The procedure as to any case that would come before the 410th is the same. The procedure is one of legal scholarship, understanding where to look, where the research begins, and where it ends. And bear in mind that in cases that come before the court, there are lawyers who call themselves family lawyers. Some are board certified in family law, for example. And that's the area of the law that they prefer personally, and that's the area of the law they practice in, and they become proficient, which is really handy for a judge. Because you've got lawyers on both sides with great proficiency telling you what the law is. The same is true with criminal attorneys. People in the district attorney's office become experts in prosecuting cases, and criminal defense attorneys become experts in defending them. Civil cases, same thing. Even with subsets about people who handle class actions or people who handle only torts or only business matters. You've got two attorneys standing in front of a judge at any moment in time who are experts in their field by their choice. You need to have a judge who can listen to them and discern what they're telling, to do the additional research, to be willing to do the additional work, and ultimately get to the bottom of whatever issue is in front of the judge. That's the procedure that is common to all types of cases. And somebody who can do that is somebody who makes a good judge. Judges should not get to pick and choose what they prefer to hear. That's the province of lawyers who decide where they're more comfortable practicing. The judge of this court is a judge for all purposes to handle Montgomery County's business. And as long as the judge understands the procedure to get there from here, then you have accomplished what you need to accomplish.
Thank you.
Betty Anderson here. Most of you know that judges can perform wedding ceremonies. And I'm just curious to know that if the situation ever came up and you were asked to perform a same-sex marriage, would you do that?
No. I think what you said, Ms. Anderson, is right. Judges can't perform weddings. Judges have the authority to perform weddings. That's just some of the magic of that oath that you take and the robe that you wear. But judges are not required to perform weddings. It is a choice that the judge makes. And so my choice would be not to perform weddings. I think, frankly, that there's other business of the court that would be more important than performing weddings anyway. So my feeling is, as a judge, I've made the decision I wouldn't be performing weddings at all for anyone. I would instead be focused on clearing up backlog and the like, as you would expect your judge to do.
We've already decided this issue in the 410th District Court when Obergefell came out and that became an issue. We made a decision that we just wouldn't perform any more marriages at all. That way we're not discriminating against anybody. We're just not performing them for anyone. And that's been the case ever since Obergefell's come out. And I would continue to do that. Thank you.
I want to say what they said, because that's basically, I think we're in agreement on this one. We don't have the time to be performing weddings, heterosexual or homosexual. And I would follow the lead of the 418th and not perform weddings.
Is that the end? Okay, I'm afraid that uses up our time for questions. The panel will each have 3 minutes to make their closing statements. And I believe, I've lost track of where, I believe we'll start with Kristin Bays.
We started with me in the beginning, so is that what
If you
you?
prefer, we'll start with Chuck. Move that way.
All right, well, thank you all for surviving this. Let me encourage you to go out there, and we survived it too. Go out there, pick up all of our literature, go out to my website. Please contact me if you have any questions about anything I said this evening. I wanted to point out a few things that I didn't get to tonight. I've served as a pro bono attorney. I told you about the foreclosure matter, but also for the Veterans Clinic here in Montgomery County. The Woodlands Bar Association works with veterans, and that's something that I will continue to do until I become a judge. It's very important that we provide our veterans with adequate legal support for the issues that come before them. And so in answer to the earlier question about activities in Montgomery County and the law, that was in Montgomery County, folks, and it was applying Texas law. In 2012, I was deployed to Ohio by the Republican National Lawyers Association in sort of a true the vote effort during the presidential election. We tried to maintain the integrity of the ballot. I have a lot of respect for the process. I'm the only one that's ever been engaged in election law. I've been trained by the Republican National Lawyers Association. And one piece of trivia, we talked about the three main areas, but election law disputes also come before the district courts of the state of Texas. I have background in that as well. I have the broadest background of the candidates in a variety of area laws, and additionally, I have a background in engineering and business. You will not find the breadth of experience, the wisdom that it's talked about in the Bible with respect to Solomon. Now, I know I'm no Solomon, but I certainly aspire to be Solomon. And when you think about it, remember the story in the Bible, Solomon decided to split the baby? That was actually a family law case. And so I want to have the breadth of experience and the wisdom to be able to handle a criminal case, a family law case, or a civil case, or an election law case, or a property dispute case. I don't care what category you put it into. I want to pray every night that the good Lord gives me the guidance, and I ask you to pray for each of us, whoever ends up on that bench, that we have the wisdom of Solomon in dealing with the matters that come before us. I do not believe that this should be a specialized court. If I had my preference, we'd pay a lot more attention to the civil law and the criminal law cases, because we already have judicial officers dealing with family law cases, plenty of them. And you know, in my pecking order, criminal law cases come first, civil law cases come second, and family law cases come third. Now, I'm not a family law practitioner, maybe I'd have a different opinion with that. But we have to address the needs in the criminal law area, the civil law area, before we worry about the family law area. I'm sure that the good King Solomon didn't have many family law cases. He just happened to have probably the most famous one in the world. And my time is up. I thank you for your attention. Please consider my thanks as very heartfelt. God bless us and God bless America.
Well, I hate that I have to use my last 3 minutes in rebuttal mode, but that's kind of where I'm at. So first of all, who is more important than the children of this county? So as far as getting family law matters tried quickly, that's an important job. And so the people, if you think about the delays, before we had these specialized courts, there were delays, and you would wait 6 weeks before you would get a temporary orders case. During that time, a little child wouldn't know where that child was going to live. Maybe a parent didn't have support. People didn't know where they were going to be living in the meantime. I mean, it's a problem. And that's why family law is a very important thing. But here's the deal. I don't want it to be just a family law court. I've never said that. You'll never find one stitch anywhere of me ever saying that. I've always said that it should be a civil and family law specialized court. And guess who agrees with me? The director of the Office of Court Administration, who has made this recommendation to the Board of Judges based on the needs of our county after reviewing the evidence and the documents and the information from the district clerk's office. This is a guy we pay to give us recommendations, and he said we should do this. I agree with him. However, it doesn't matter. No matter what the Board of Judges decide, and by the way, this is moot. Again, straw man. This was meant to get us off qualifications and talk about something completely else, completely different. And I hope you will look at that sheet, which will explain a lot of the things that were said today that were misrepresentations. But again, as far as those representations are concerned, integrity and honesty are an important part of being a judge. And I have shown this county in the last 5 years that I am honest and have integrity, and that I can be the next judge of the 410. Finally, my opponents give you no solutions. Essentially, they want to keep doing the same thing over and over again, and they give you no solution, and essentially are going to expect a different result. They're telling you they're going to get a different result by doing the same thing, but offer no solutions. Albert Einstein defined insanity as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I am ready to do whatever the Board of Judges decides, or the administrative judge, because those are the only people who decide what happens to this court. It's a moot issue. We don't decide. The winner of this race doesn't decide what happens to the 410. The Board of Judges or the administrative judge does. I'm ready to do whatever they decide is best for this county. I'm ready to work. I've got the experience, I've got the knowledge, I've got the intelligence, and I've got the wisdom to do whatever and step into those shoes tomorrow. as soon as I'm elected. I'm the only board certified candidate, the only candidate with any judicial experience, the only candidate with a pristine judicial track record, and the only candidate with the experience to run an efficient court that will save taxpayer money. My name is Jennifer James Robin, and I am asking for your vote.
Being a judge is an important job. I mean, what else can you say about that? You're electing someone who can take away your home, can take away your children, can take away your money, can sentence you to prison, and can take away your life. It's no small matter. It is an important job. It's a scary thing to go in front of a judge. I've got plenty of clients who've told me that. You need a judge who is welcoming, a judge who is warm, a judge who is inviting and yet maintains control of the courtroom. Those are the kind of things that you need with someone who's going to take on this role, because it will be one of us who will take on this role as the judge of the 410th District Court. I don't think talking about what the 410th does and how to get it done is a straw man. I don't think that's a distraction. I think that that's the centerpiece for how you make a choice about this court. Family law cases are absolutely important, there's no question, and taking care of the children of our county is absolutely important, there's no question about that. I'm not suggesting anything to the contrary. In fact, I'm suggesting that the 410th should continue to handle them. Right now, 36% of those 410th cases are family cases, despite the fact that there's actually 4 judicial officers down the hall who do nothing but family cases. Civil cases, likewise, are critically important. They're important to Montgomery County's economy. They're important to the way that we do business here. They need to be handled. They need to be handled with strict scheduling orders, with dockets, with multiple trials in a single week, and with judges who come to work and who work really hard. Those are solutions, folks. But the criminal cases can't fall by the wayside. And I understand my opponent says that she never said that, but if you go online at HCN Online and look up the Conroe Courier on September 24th of 2015, you'll see on the front page, top fold, that is what she said. Because that's what prompted me to run for this bench. Because as a practicing attorney, I knew that that wasn't going to work for our county. She repeated it in a video that you can find on Scott Engel's website or YouTube channel on December 16, 2015, when asked the question. This isn't a straw man. It's a centerpiece issue. This is a court that works for you. This is a court that is there for you. This is a court for we the people. And you have to decide who you think best fits the role of presiding on this bench. Debating about which case is more important than the other case, I don't think that you want that with a judge. I think you want a judge who understands that every case is important. It is critically important to the people involved, the men, the women, the children, everyone involved thinks that their case is the most important one, and you need a judge who feels that way too. Debating about which type of court this case, or which type of cases this court should hear, what we need to be talking about is who is best to preside over every type of case and handle the business of Montgomery County. I think that's me. My name is Kristin Bays, and when you vote for Judge of the 410th, I'm asking you to vote for me.
Take your seat. Okay. We want to thank everybody, thank the candidates. We want to thank Shenandoah for being such gracious hosts. And we will be back here for our 3rd Montgomery County Eagle Forum Wednesday night of next week, 6 days from now. We try to do it on Thursday, but sometimes that just doesn't work out. So we've got little yellow slips on the table outside that give you the information for the, right here, for the next one. So it's Wednesday the 20th, and we will have the panel for the judges of the candidates for judge of the 9th Judicial District and for the County Commissioner Precinct 3 race. So that's what's on docket for 6 days from now. As you leave, I ask you 2 courtesies, if you would please. Number 1, let's leave this place like it was when we walked in. Straighten chairs, make sure you take your trash with you. And then second of all, just make sure that, well, the second thing is take your trash with you. So chairs and trash. And if you do that, oh, these videos, once we get the process, will be appearing on the Montgomery County Eagle Forum website. If you cannot make one of them, you missed the one last week, keep your eyes peeled there. We're going to try to get those posted up there as quickly as possible. Thank you all for coming. God bless you, and have a great evening and a safe trip home.